Is it time to legalize pot to make up the budget deficit? Following a report last month by a Harvard economist estimating marijuana legalization would generate $7 billion annually in tax revenue. Following that report, more than 500 economists signed an open letter calling for an open debate on repealing marijuana prohibition. So is pot the cash crop that's going to save the economy? We've talked about it a bit before. I think we'll be talking about it more. Let's ask the former Republican Congressman Ernest Istook what he thinks. He oversaw the Office of National Drug Policy. We're also joined by wrestler and marijuana activist Rod Van Dam. But Congressman, you first. First of all, are you troubled that there is more chatter about the legalization of marijuana than there was previously?
Well, there's nothing new about that kind of chatter. And Geraldo, I want to say hi to you. We haven't seen each other since you were in Oklahoma City after the bombing there. But, you know,
is that
people
so?
who
wow.
say...
Isn't that something? But, you know, we're joined forever by those. That event was so awful. We were there that day it happened. But anyway, right. we'll
yeah, you and I talked on the streets, and I was on your show then, sure. But back to the subject at hand, of course. You've always had people who say, oh, legalize and tax marijuana. They have all these wonderful promises of the finances. It's the same thing we've seen with lotteries. It's the same thing we see with legalizing other things. And they don't count the social cost. They say, well, government can make money. How about the families that are damaged by legalizing another way for people to get high? We've made a lot of progress in the last few years. In the last 10 years, each year, the teenage use of marijuana has declined. It's now 30% below the level that it was 10 years ago. Now's not the time to reverse course. Whether you want to legalize drugs, marijuana, prostitution, you name it. This same Harvard economist that put that report out also wrote an article that said he doesn't just want to legalize marijuana, he wants to legalize drugs generally.
Okay.
So let's not just talk about the toll on government, let's talk about the toll on society.
Rob, what about the toll on society? What about creating a generation of junkies?
Yeah, see, a lot of that is hype, and he can definitely combine it and make you think we're not talking about marijuana, we're talking about hard drugs, prostitution, whatever. But let's keep the argument where it is, focused on marijuana. This was the #1 voted on question for President Obama to address recently, and almost everyone on camera snickered because that's what people are trained to do. We're talking about America's #1 cash crop. It's completely unregulated and untaxed. Let's take that money out of the streets. We're putting it into the black market that Prohibition created, and let's put that in the right hands where we can use it with our government by taxing and regulating it. Half of Americans say that they've tried smoking anyway. This is a huge business, and to just liken it to other drugs is really just a ploy to alter the conversation and to detour it away from what we're talking about. Marijuana is not a harmful drug. If you're going to call it harmful, show me the bodies. 0 deaths compared to 150,000 a year in America alone from alcohol poisoning, not to mention 50% of car accidents, 65% of murders from alcohol. Tobacco, over 450,000. You have a 50% chance. Okay. 1 in 2 tobacco smokers dies prematurely.
Gotcha.
That's dangerous.
And Congressman, compared to alcohol, it really has been relatively benign. I only have a couple of seconds left, but can you give me a brief response?
Well, there's much less use. Anybody who thinks that we don't have drug-related deaths in this country is indeed smoking something.
Okay,
you know, right now,
drug-related.
Leave it at that.
We got marijuana-related.
Okay.
Trying to reduce smoking, and now they say, let's encourage it.
You guys talk amongst yourselves. I got to take a quick break.